Hey, I'm Pops, and I want to talk to you about Predator number one. This is Marvel's new comic book series. It's done by Ed Bryson, and Netho Diaz. I'm not familiar with either creator, but I have to tell you, if you like Predator comic books, if you want to see the Predator just mowing down some people, it's not a bad comic book. It's okay. Not a lot as far as like a ton of meat and bones. You're looking for story and a lot of depth or anything like that. But I thought this is actually a pretty good start to a story. I don't know if it's going to be an ongoing series or it's a mini series. Really didn't do any reach, deep into this or anything like that. I just saw. I was like, oh, let's check this out. So go through a few pages. I'm not going to do any major spoilers or anything like that. Try to stay away from some of that for you guys. So takes place in the jungle, and you have basically action right from the get go of some chaos that's breaking out, people running. Then, of course, the predator jumps out, slashes, and just cuts somebody down. And there's some quick exposition in the middle. So this is just one fight scene, another fight scene, all this chaos that's breaking out, and then basically on the left here, you see they basically are trying to regroup, like what's going on. And the general premise is you have people who think they're in different years. So there's some sort of time travel, abduction, possibly like, you know, suspended animation. We don't quite get it, all of the answers to what's going on here, but we have someone from like, 1987, someone from, the 2000s, someone from older than that. Everyone has a different perspective on what to do. How do you take them down? What's going on? And of course, the predators are interrupting a lot of us trying to find out information, which makes it kind of interesting because we learn little bits and pieces before the action kind of jumps back in. And as you can see with Diaz's art, it's graphic. They're not going to hold back. Exactly what you kind of want to see in a predator comic or predator material of any kind. They don't get caught too much into a bunch of wasted time. It moves relatively quickly. It is a nice beefy book, but here they're trying to compare notes, talk about some different things as far as like, well, what time are you from? How could this be? How could that be? And they're just kind of going through that. And again, I know the one girl, she's kind of like the main central character as far as a lot of the conversation and things like that, but I don't feel like it really mattered. I think it reminded me sort of like the first Alien versus Predator movie where the main character was a female, but it didn't feel like forced or anything like that. It just happened to be that's who the main character was. So it kind of felt that direction rather than some of the cliched stuff we have with other modern comics. And so here they're having like a drop of these containers, and these containers are coming down. They don't really know what they're doing. So the first thoughts are going to be things like, well, is this food and ration and supplies, or is it something else? And then when they arrive and you get to this one, that's when you start to realize, no, it's something that's gone completely sideways. There's more chaos with this creature that comes out and is doing its thing. So then you start to ask yourself, well, what's really going on here? Are we in the middle of, an organized hunt? Are we not in the middle of an organized hunt? We understand a lot about the predator lore and history, but they do a pretty good job. I think Brisson's story does a really good job of kind of keeping you a little bit off kilter where you're not 100% sure you totally have what's happening. And by the way, you're constantly getting characters that are getting mowed down in all of these different conflicts. So it's not as though you're going to start with a bunch of people and they're still sticking around. So it definitely stayed true to Alien custom and Predator custom of trying to take things down and stuff like that. So I also will say I like the fact that they brought in pretty believable, like this white bald guy is like the size of the Kingpin, right? He's like this giant massive dude, and then you have this like Terry Crews guy right here. So you have different personalities and characteristics that make for nice juxtaposition of the action and different problems that are happening with their battle scenes. I thought it was pretty good. And again, I wanted to show you, so the predators come right back out. The predator's back. You have nice close-up shots. You have far away shots. Lots of blood. Lots of chaos. It just never really lets up. And I think for the most part, they did a really good job of trying to kick off a series and give people a little dose of the Predator franchise. I can just tell you that both of them work in the business. They have for a little while. I don't know a ton about either one of them, so I'm not going to, I'm not going to sit here and just blow a bunch of smoke because I know that Ed Brisson has worked on a ton of other Predator issues. So I don't know if this is because they keep rebooting everything or if it's just because they're doing more like little mini series type stories. But it's just called Predator. It doesn't have like a, it's not like the days where I was reading Predator regularly and it was like, well, this is Cold War and so that kind of thing. It's more of just an ongoing series, at least on the surface. It's what it looks like. So that's my general take on it. I don't know even, are you even remotely interested in Predator as a comic book? It's like it's one of those things that is an interesting franchise. It doesn't seem like it's being fulfilled and utilized, especially right now. I've thought about going back and doing a little exposition on some of those. Like I did one on The Crow. I thought about doing something like that with Predator. Maybe talk about a mini series or something like that. You guys let me know if you think that's something you'd be interested in. Like which one you'd like me to do, maybe. I don't know. You guys let me know. And what do you think about this art? I like the art. I actually like the fact that it was not. I don't know. You guys have heard me say it, right? It's not a bunch of it's not a bunch of pastels. It's not a bunch of just crazy silliness or anything like that. It's a lot of action, a lot of movement, and then of course they don't hold back. It's Predator, right? So we definitely get blood and blood splatter and chaos breaking out and things like that. So I think it was worth my time. I'm glad I read it. I'm biting off a lot of new comics here, trying to keep up with some different things, trying to look for some ones that are pretty decent. But of course, you miss sometimes too. So you have to deal with that. So anyway, that's my take on it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thank you so much. I'm Pops.
Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing.